Now, I understand a couple of things. One is that we're past the draft and you've got a couple of months until training camp gets underway, so you're in this kind of lull, dull period for NFL fans. So what that means is that fans are going to find reasons to keep talking about their team, hyping up their team, pumping up their team, suggesting ways for them to prove. It's a tale as old as time, consistent theme every year. You also know that at this time of year, fans of some teams are still going to be looking for ways for their team to improve, saying, hey, bring in this one more guy, bring in somebody else, bring in this guy, this is a gaping hole, this is a glaring hole in the roster. Which makes sense. There are still some quality free agents available on the market this year. So if teams want somebody, they'll find a way to get it done and get them done probably sooner rather than later. You also know that sometimes fans of teams just start talking out of their ass this time of year and coming up with all wild and crazy types of dumb dick scenarios. And I'm seeing that on Twitter right now with Bears fans and Lions fans going back and forth. Lions fans, yes, I would agree at the moment. They certainly seem like they are poised to be the favorites for the NFC North, but don't count your chickens before you're hatched. Just saying. You've won the division exactly 0 times in your history. Never won the NFC North. Let's not break out the anointing oil just yet. For Bears fans that are using this as an excuse and opportunity to jump on the Packers and talk about how much Jordan Love is going to suck, well, to be fair, if any organization in the history of the NFL would know about crappy quarterback play, it's the Chicago Bears, because that's what Bears football is all about. You knew I had to squeeze one in there. You weren't going to be able to wait till August or September for that. You know it. But remember, you used to say the same thing when Brett Favre got traded to the Jets. And then in comes this kid that had sat on the bench for 3 years in Aaron Rodgers. And yeah, let's focus on your own team. Who gives a shit what the Lions are doing? Who gives a shit what the Packers are doing? As far as Packer fans go, frankly, they should be worrying about their own shit too. Same thing with the Lions. You'd think that trash talk stuff is fun. I think it's kind of dumb and a fucking waste of time. I don't give a shit if the Bears finished 3rd or 4th in the damn division. If they got to the playoffs and made a run and got to the Super Bowl and won it, that's the only thing that fucking matters. I don't care if they went 11-6 and their 6 losses were all in the goddamn division. Who gives a shit? It's about hoisting the Lombardi trophy at the end of the day. Nothing else matters. But Bears fans have really got to stop this Chase Young trade bullshit. Stop it! Stop it! I understand that you look at the Bears' defensive roster right now, specifically the defensive line, and you're left wanting a lot. You know that edge rusher was a huge need. You don't quite see DeMarcus Walker satisfying or satiating that need because you're right, because if anything, I view him more as a base end that's going to flip inside as a 3 technique in passing situations. So there is absolutely a lack of edge rushing talent for the Bears. So you're looking for ways and opportunities for them to utilize some of this available cap space to get a little bit better, because you can see it coming now. A defensive line that maybe got incrementally better this offseason, but not nearly as much as you would have envisioned for a team with that much cap space and that much draft pick capital. And I'm with you there. But Chase Young? We're talking about the same Chase Young? Must be out your goddamn minds. I mean, seriously. I think Chase Young, for Bears fans, is a perfect example of seeing what you want to see, believing what you want to believe. And not realizing that the draft position back in 2020 and the media hype associated with him coming out of Ohio State is much better than the reality of the player. this talk about, ooh, give up like a day 2 pick for, what the fuck? Why would you do that? This is something that people need to do a better job of, is asking questions that begin with why. Why would the Commanders be looking to trade Chase Young? There are no real indications they absolutely are anyways to begin with. But why would they even entertain the thought? Why would a guy that was drafted number 2 overall just 3 years ago be potentially on the trade market? Why would a guy that was drafted number 2 overall 3 years ago have had his 5th year option already declined? Why? Why? Well, the Bears are in a position they could give up a little bit of draft capital. It's not going to kill them. They've got the cap space. Chase Young's only under contract for like $10 million this year. It's worth this swing for the fences. Yeah, here's the fucking problem though. Your logic doesn't really add up because trading for Chase Young isn't even swinging for the goddamn fences. To those that are trying to make this seem like this is a really good idea, and then you're going to talk about box scores, stat watching bullshit, let's throw out a couple that do really matter here in the grand scheme of things. 3 seasons. 3 seasons for Chase Young. Right? Right. In 3 seasons, he has played a grand total of 27 games. Just barely over 50% of the games for the Commanders the past 3 years, Chase Young has been on the field for those. He has 9 career sacks. Played just over 50% of his team's games in 3 years. 9 career sacks. So even the sack rate of 1 for every 3 games is nothing special. If you extrapolate that out to a 17-game season, you end up between somewhere around 5 to 6 sacks. You're acting like this is a guy that had 1 down season after a couple of 12, 13 sack seasons. He was Defensive Rookie of the Year when he had 7.5 sacks. He's had 1.5 since, and that was back in 2021. 2 years, he's played like 12 games. Never played all games in a season. Fucking 12 games the past 2 seasons. Knee injury, knee concerns. What am I not getting here? What makes you think that this would be some rip-roaring, outstanding type of move? What makes you think that this would be anything other than good old business as usual Bears football? If you want to address, let me ask you this question. What would you rather do? If you had to spend $10 million for a defensive end, would you rather spend it on a guy that consistently puts up 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10 sack seasons and has done it for a period of time in the NFL? Or would you rather, who actually plays all of his team's games or close to it? Or would you rather give $10 million to a guy that has 9 career sacks and 27 career games, and by the way, would also require draft pick capital in order to acquire him? I'm sorry, player A is Yannick Ngakoue, player B is Chase Young. I'm taking Ngakoue all effing day long. Well, Ngakoue's not great against the run. Chase Young's not great at staying on the damn field, assholes! Which would you rather have? In a league where teams pass like 60% of the time, we're talking about fucking run defense. No, you gotta get after the goddamn quarterback. Get some heat in the backfield. Frankly, I think Chase Young's better against the run than he is the pass. He's just a new version of Jadeveon Clowney with an even worse injury history. I agree, the Bears need to address the defensive line. And I agree, I wouldn't hurt my feelings to see them address it twice. But at no point in time should they be looking at Chase Young as a solution for any goddamn thing. Because 1, we don't even know what Washington is looking to do with him. They might want him to play out the string. 2, if they did want to trade him, why would you want to sit there and give up draft pick capital for a guy that could very likely end up missing half the season? Why do I say that? Because you look at the past 2 seasons of his career, that's exactly what he's done. Actually missed more than half of his fucking games. For those that are sitting there and making this pound the table push for Chase Young, like really people should be asking you, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck are you thinking about? Why do you think this is a good idea? Why do you think the team that spent such a high pick on him 3 years ago that declined his 5th-year option, why do you think it's going to be a different situation in Chicago? Why? Ask the question why. Never mind the fact that he would, in Washington, he doesn't have to be the dude on the defensive line. You trade for him, now you put him into a spot where he becomes the focal point of offenses and offensive lines and offensive coordinators and head coaches. It just feels like a recipe for goddamn disaster. The Bears should have probably drafted an edge rusher this year for an edge rush class that was pretty deep. They didn't do that. That's okay. There are other ways to go about it. One of those ways to not go about that is give up future draft pick capital for a 1-year rental. Because what then? Chase Young, he stays healthy for 14, 15 games and he has like 6.5, 7 sacks. And then what do you fucking do? You keep tantalizing yourself at the thought of what you think Chase Young is supposed to be and not the reality of what he is. Bears fans, let it go. You want Ngakoue? You want him beside somebody like Frank Clark? Fine. Makes sense to me. Justin Houston, Carl Lawson, whatever, fine. Short-term stuff. Trading like a 3rd-round pick or a conditional 4th that could be a 3rd or multiple picks for Chase Young? Get the fuck out of here. Why in the hell would you want to do that? Why?